Hi again. It is still October the 27th, Wednesday, 2021, and this is part 2 of the astrological video that I'm making today. So you should watch one before you watch this. I'm just doing this because it's easier to upload videos that are like shorter than 20-ish minutes. So, okay, so carrying on with these certain factors and things that make things a little bit more favorable in a certain sign. So you had Uranus coming into Aries in 2011, but then you had Neptune coming into Pisces in 2012. So there again, 2011, 2012, given the backdrop, as I was speaking about earlier on Pluto being in Capricorn the whole time. What do I say even about that? Well, just think about what happened in your own life in the years 2011 and 2012. Because you'll find that there was probably a stir up in 2011, and that would be Uranus entering Aries, like in a not so harmonious alignment with Pluto in Capricorn. But then there being some relief to that in from 2012 to 2015 because of the compatibility of Neptune in Pisces that entered in 2012. Now that compatibility actually of Neptune being in Pisces, it runs from 2012 to 2026. And I want to talk a little bit about this because one thing is that, yes, it's those two are compatible. Another thing is that Jupiter, it's right now, what is it in right now? It's in Aquarius right now, but it's going to enter Pisces December, January of this coming year in 2022, Jan 22 or December 21. And it was in Pisces for a few months in summertime this year, and that sort of gave us some level of relief, so to speak, because Jupiter is a very expansive and a very prosperous sort of, it brings prosperous and expansive energies, and it gets along with it was the sign of Pisces, and then even Neptune's a sign of Pisces, so they get along really well with each other, and they're very harmonious as well, and that's quite favorable. And the only thing I'll say that's a little bit tricky in this, Neptune being in Pisces for so long, from 2012 to 2026, is that Pisces is quite a bit like drugs and addiction and that sort of narcotics, and not to say that people who are Pisces are addicts, and not to say that anybody who has like Neptune influence, is an addict or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But there's this hallucinogenic addiction potential, beliefs, dreams, living in la la land, kind of being not scattered, being dreamy. Some people need to be dreamy if they're too if they're too much they are very mundane and earthly beings. Sometimes they need a little bit of like dreaminess, so that can also be a good thing. But depending on where your other Neptune and what other planets you have in Pisces, you have to be careful, like addiction wise and being overly dreamy wise between 2012 to 2026. This might also be why we had the whole opioid crisis was, kind of happened recently, didn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, but from 2026, Neptune will actually be in Aries, which is not such a great thing actually, because the other times it has been Neptune has gone into Aries, there's been revolutions and wars and all those kind of things. Because if you think about it in terms of, Aries is the war planet and Neptune is the diction planet or the dreaming, or like, who knows, maybe it'll just be like being very dreamy about war. Oh, that's not good. Anyways, we'll see what happens. All I can say is that in the past, when Neptune has entered Aries, it's not gone down so well. And it remains in the planet for 14 years. So that's 2026 to 2040. God help us. Okay. Anyways, moving along. Uranus is in Taurus from 2018 to 2026. And this is very important because Uranus is first of all, it's the sign of Aquarius, and that's its home planet. And going into Taurus, it is 4 away from the home planet, right? So when I say 4 away, I mean Aquarius 1, Pisces 2, Aries 3, Taurus 4. So in that sense, it is in the 4th house away from its home, and that's not a happy place. Like it's what you call it's in a square pattern, and when it's in a square pattern from its home, that's not super compatible. So, but that 4th house thing, it matters because the 4th house is for things that are related. They're related to mother figure, home, but your home in a broader sense, like your homeland, your home country, your city, your so it's like that. And when I say it's the mother planet, it just I mean like your mother. It's also like food, and food is like nurturing in that sense, because food is technically the 2nd house, which is because like food goes with money and security and that sort of thing. That's how food is counted, but this is sort of the nurturing, like the mother food, if you will. So it's those kind of things are what get impacted. And Uranus being a very technological planet, it means that, and that's why it gets along really well with Aquarius, because that's where it really belongs, the futuristic, new things, new stuff happening, and it changes every 7 years. So it's very interesting to note that that it was in its own house, sort of in that 90s era when all the whole tech bubble and all happened. It was right at home. It was like, yes, we're doing this, But now that it's in Taurus, it's kind of like it enables technology in sort of those other, smart home, that was a department I worked in when I worked at Cisco. But the whole smart home thing, like you never ever, people wouldn't even probably want devices like Alexa listening to their every conversation in the house in any other era. But when Uranus is in that house, it becomes that much more likely that that those sort of things gain traction. And that is sort of that's been going on now from 2018 to 2026, is when it all kind of happens in that house. Now, after 26, Uranus enters Gemini, which is both good and bad. It's so Gemini is the one. Gemini is the planet for thought and how your mind works and how you communicate. Because I think I mentioned in a different talk some days back, where I spoke about how logic and logos, how you think is how you speak, and those two are very connected. And so is Mercury. If you have really good and compatible planets in your birth chart in Mercury, then you are someone who's an excellent orator, and you also think in that good logical way, which is why it comes out, and your speech flows perfectly in a way that people across from you get you, because your Mercury is in a really good place. But in any case, the reason I'm bringing this up is when Uranus enters Gemini, it's the planet of Aquarius, and Aquarius and Gemini are friends that way, because Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra are a trine. They form a trine. They're all air signs. They're all mind signs. So it's in a good place, which is good. But it also, like, if you're not very hot about these ideas of technology being a part of your brain, or like having, say, like what is that Neuralink chip, that Musk came out with like last year. If you're not so hot on those sort of things, that might not be such a a great thing, because that's the time for that sort of thing, where you have a chip in your mind and you upload your dreams to the cloud and that sort of thing. That world is kind of much more possible 2026 onwards, and it stays sort of very enabled in that zone for 7 years, which is quite a while. And here's another scary / tricky bit about that. The fact that again, the last time this happened was also sort of in that there were a couple times, because this is an 84-year cycle. The last time it was during the whole Holocaust and Second World War time, and then the time before that it conjuncted with the 1850s, and then the time before that it conjuncted with the 1770s. Basically when America broke away from Britain and became its own country. So there are a lot of and then before even that, it was the time of the France hyperinflation and the fiat money thing in like the late 1600s, early 17 something. Yeah. So or was that Louis something? I don't know. Anyways, but like a lot of crap hit the fan in France around that time too. So there's a lot of this 2026 thing. There's a lot of there are a lot of planetary forces that make it so that the year 2026 is something of either the start of a new era or the end of world as we know it, so to speak. But all of these other pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, line up between, not just between now, it's actually between 2008, okay, when, as Lynette Zhang says, the financial system died, because it's the world system right now where all these currencies are all together on a floating exchange rate of fiat currency. And if you don't know what that sentence that I just said means, please see my financial vocabulary video. because there I speak about why that matters. Because it's like right now we are in this like floating exchange rates between countries and all fiat, no intrinsic value sort of thing, like like precious metal kind of backing behind any currency, that that just basically is like a system where you are not waking up at sunrise, or you're not going to call sunrise the start of your day. You're just going to decide what time your day begins uh, based on what time your group of friends wakes up. That's what you call morning. So if you live your life like that, it's going to be insane. And that's kind of what we've had in this world from from 1971, when Nixon took us off the gold standard and basically defaulted on the whole world and the backing that our currency had. So anyways, that's kind of financial tangent. But in any case, so we are living in that sort of weird half here, half there, group of friends waking up based on everybody else when they wake up, and not having any sort of anchor of, oh, what time does the sun actually rise? What value does our money really have? And why does that matter? Because that's not the value of money per se, it's the value of your energy. Because the energy you put out in the world, right, that is your currency. That's your money, your energy that you put out in the world. And if that is not being fairly valued, then a human will get depressed, and an economy will face a depression. I find that very fascinating, that that when a whole economy goes stagnant like that, and we say, oh yeah, the Great Depression. Yeah, truer words have never been spoken. So that's sort of the significance of where the mind connects actually with money and with your energy and what energy you put out. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks again, and take care. Bye.